Morning. Morning, Gemma. Morning, Jasmine. Oh, gosh. Oh, it's so lovely to see everyone. Morning, Jasmine. Thank you. Kezia, hello. Nice to see you. Sunny, Zinta. Thank you for joining me, everyone. It's lovely. Lovely to see you here. Morning, Kezia. Oh, Kyrenia Kitchen. Jules, it's nice to see you. Welcome. Day Corky, good morning. Oh, Moon Amy. So nice to see you. Welcome. Nice to have you here. Thank you for joining me. It's lovely. I always sit here a bit worried before I'm about to start thinking, I wonder if anyone will actually come. So it's so nice when I see everyone's names popping up. It's really lovely. Ah, Miss Khan. Thank you. I'm very well, thank you. And Gazmo, thank you so much. You're so. I see your name and I know. Oh, Elaine, I know that Gazmo. You're here every time, so I'm so grateful. Thank you. It's lovely to see you, Elaine. Lovely to have you here. Morning, Gazzy. Morning. Morning, everyone. So, let me know where you're calling, where you're watching me from. That would be so nice. Oh, okay. So we're straight into questions here. So user, you should follow. I work full time. My mum's in hospital and have loads of uni work. Any advice for stress? Okay, I'm gonna come back and I will answer that for you. So, but first of all, just want to welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. I've got moderators working with me this morning. Jasmine is here. She's going to moderate for me. I think Lynn's going to be here, possibly Vicky, possibly Zanjin. And that's just so that we can keep this really lovely, friendly, safe community space so we can all just chat and be able to talk amongst ourselves and ask questions without any fear of anyone being mean. So there's sort of no tolerance really with anyone just being rude. There's no point. This is supposed to be a nice, caring place. So welcome. Do ask any questions that you might have. I will do my absolute best to get through them all. If I don't answer your question, it's not that I'm ignoring you at all, but they fly through, and I have to wear my glasses because I'm blind as a bat without them. And sometimes I just don't see the comments that come up. So I'm sorry about that. If you ever wanted to ask me a question, you can always go into my profile. There's a link tree. My website is there, and there's a form that you can just ask questions through. So do feel free to do that. So I'm going to get stuck in. We're here for an hour, and I'm going to answer this first question that I've seen. So from you should follow. I work full time. My mum's in hospital, and I have loads of uni work. Any advice for stress? So. Well, wow, you've got your plate is full, isn't it, at the moment? And I would say, well done you for doing all of those things, juggling so many plates, balls, rocks in your rucksack, burdens on you. And I'm sure lots of it's really enjoyable. But sometimes when you have lots and lots of stuff, it just takes one thing to break the camel's back, doesn't it? So you're absolutely right. It's really important to look after you. I think it's about perhaps creating boundaries, making sure that, you give yourself almost diarise time that, I need to work, that's my work time. I need to do my uni work, so when am I going to do that? And to ring fence that so that little and often is better than thinking, oh God, I've not done anything, so I've got to sit down for 4 hours this weekend and then I should be seeing my mum and I don't know what to do about that. So to sort of segment everything and have a look the week before perhaps and think, okay, when am I going to be able to do this? Also diarising in time for you, time where you can just relax, decompress, spend time doing things for you, because that is so important. If you can spend some time each day just taking a moment, reflecting, doing something which you really love and look forward to doing, then that will help you. It's about lowering those levels of stress hormone in your system. And it's completely natural to feel a bit stressed and feel a bit anxious when you have lots of stuff on your plate. So try not to worry too much about that, because this time is a temporary time and you will get through it. But it is about just trying to be as much in control as you possibly can, and realising it's not in your control, looking after yourself. So I hope that helps a little bit. And well done. To keep doing what you can do, and you'll get through it. You'll get through it. So thank you for asking the question. It's a good one. So let's have a look. Oh, Lynn, morning. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Lynn is also one of my moderators, so thank you. So let's have a look. I'm just having a little scroll through. So Simply Caitlin says, I can't ever seem to gain control. I try everything and sometimes it just takes over. So I think perhaps was there a first bit to that that I didn't see. That's annoying when I come in on something and it's seeing if I can scroll through and see if there was anything initially on that. Oh gosh, there's so many comments. It's amazing how they all come through so quickly. Okay, I'm gonna, if I see the sort of follow up of what that's about, Caitlin, I'll come back to it. I'm gonna go to Chloe Loves Ruby. I have a flight on Tuesday. So sorry about that, Caitlin. I have a flight on Tuesday and I'm really nervous. Any tips? My anxiety is high at the moment. So, well, fear of flying, or that just nervousness, is a lot of people feel that, don't they? I used to feel that. I used to go, I used to be taking off and might have my new fingernails dug into the seats of the airplane. So there's a few things. I suppose it's about understanding, where's that come from? What makes you nervous? Is it a particular part of the flight? When do you start feeling nervous? So being curious about where you are on that scale. Is it the taking off that you're nervous about? Is it the being on the plane? Is it the landing that you're nervous about? Or is it the whole thing? Is it that your brain is creating a picture of, oh gosh, what's going to happen? Because, sometimes we do, don't we? And our conscious brain can know that it's the safest form of travel and that planes take off and land all day, every day. And it's very, very rare that it's going to happen, that anything bad goes wrong. So understanding that and being curious. One of the things that you can do is be curious about the people around you. So you're not totally focused on you, that you're looking around when you're getting to the airport, when you're waiting, when you're queuing up. Be interested in what's everyone else doing? What's their story? I wonder where they're going. And that takes the focus away from you. You can also use the techniques that I have pinned on my or in my categories. So there's lots of breathing techniques, lots of techniques to bring you to the moment. So do go and have a look at those. It's really about trying to help your brain to not leap off into the future, because that's what's happening, isn't it? We're thinking, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? Because actually the flight is probably over before you know it. And if you can segment it, again, if you can chunk it up into little sections and tick them off. So if you think, well, I've got to the airport, I've done well there. And then, I've checked in, I've done well there. And then I've got to go through security, so I'm going to do that. That's another thing done. And so on. So you just break it down, and so that you're giving yourself a little dose of dopamine, thinking, I've done this, I've achieved that, I've done really well, using really positive self-talk, and being busy. Also being prepared can really help you. So get everything, your boarding pass is printed out or on your phone. Make sure that you've got everything that you need. So it's just maybe in a little plastic folder, so you don't have to worry about any of those things. So all you need to do is just get yourself from A to B, and then to the next bit, and so on. And if it persists, if it's something that, you're really scared of and you think this has happened because, I had a difficult flight once, it's worth going to see a cognitive hypnotherapist. Can be really helpful, because it's something that can be cleared up relatively quickly. But there's lots of stuff you can do about yourself. I sort of sorted out my fear of flying without seeing anybody. I wasn't a therapist at the time. I just began to realise, actually, this is okay. I'm fine. And I'm with my husband, I'm with my family. This sounds a bit awful, but I thought to myself, well, if we're all going to die, at least we'll all die together. I'm not sure if that's helpful to you, but, you know, that was just one of the things that helped me. We all have individual ways of helping ourselves, don't we? So I hope you have a lovely time. I hope you're going somewhere really nice. So take care, Chloe, and I hope it goes well. Go and have a look at my page. There's lots of resources that can help you. Let's have a look. Oh, Unknown, I'm so glad that this live feels like a safe space. I'm so happy that you feel that way, because that's exactly what I want to create. My whole page, my whole point of being here is to create a safe space for people who are struggling, because a lot of us are, aren't we? Due to all sorts of things, life, COVID, all sorts. So please feel safe here. That's why I've got my lovely moderators who are here to just have zero tolerance of anyone who's not kind and thoughtful and friendly. So, okay. So Megan says, any help with health anxiety? And Mariam says, can anxiety cause a stutter? So 2 really good questions there. Briefly, Mariam, yes, anxiety can cause you to stutter, can cause you to stumble over your words, because you go into fight or flight, and what happens is that, didn't mean to do that, the blood is moved from your, it's moved to your big muscles so that you're ready to run away, you're ready to fight, or perhaps just to go into freeze. But it means that it's diverted away from the left side of your brain, where your speech and language, your working memory centres live. And so that's why we go a bit foggy. We can't find our words. And so it can make you stumble over your words. So yes, it can definitely make you feel a bit stuttery and not able to find the right words. So, and you can solve that by using some of the techniques that I share on my page, just calming yourself, taking your time, getting your breathing sorted out. So I hope that helps a bit. So Megan, help with health anxiety. So a lot of people suffer from health anxiety, and it's one of those things that it's a bit of a vicious circle, because perhaps something might have happened. So you might have had health issues, or someone that you love, someone that you know has had health issues or is having health issues, or you know that in the future stuff is happening for them. And we have mirror neurons in our brains. So we begin to imagine how that would feel for us, and that can help our nervous system feel that there's the possibility of threat in our life, that maybe, gosh, what will happen if I'm ill? So it triggers fight or flight response, and because of that, we have this sense of we have the physical symptoms. We have the physical symptoms of anxiety. And those are there's so many physical symptoms of anxiety, from aching muscles, beating heart, dizziness, sickness, feeling faint, feeling paralysed. Your hands can go like this, tremoring. Oh my goodness, so many, you name it. If you have a physical symptom, it can be connected to anxiety. And of course, your brain, we like to make sense of things, don't we? And so our brain goes, oh my God, I've got this thing, my heart is beating really fast. That must mean, because we like to make sense of things, that must mean I'm having a heart attack, or that must mean I've got something physically wrong with me. Now, our cognitive brain, our thinking brain, our conscious, can know absolutely that we're fine. But our unconscious, our nervous system, doesn't care. It doesn't care. It doesn't want to take a chance that there might be something wrong with us and we don't do anything about it. So it keeps triggering the fight or flight response. It's sending a message saying, check this out, check this out. So a really good thing to do is to go to your doctor and get any physical symptoms checked out. Always do that. That makes sense, doesn't it? If you don't feel quite you, then trust that instinct and go to the doctor and just get that checked out. The chances are that you're going to be absolutely fine. But of course, what happens is our unconscious goes, yeah, I don't believe them, they're not right. And so it doesn't matter how much your conscious mind is telling you, yeah, they know what they're talking about. We're fine, we're fine. The unconscious is still going round and round and round. And the more it does that, the more physical symptoms turn up and the more we worry. So it goes round and round in this awful circle. So I do feel for people who have health anxiety. It's not a nice place to be in. And, it's one of those things that it's definitely worth looking at my profile page, looking at all of the things that you can do to lower those levels of stress hormones. But I think, probably it can be really helpful to talk to a therapist. And, it doesn't have to be what I do, but it can be anyone really, just to understand where this is coming from. What is it that's causing you to have health anxiety? So do your best to sort it out for yourself first, because that's free. Perhaps go to your doctor and maybe they can sort out some sort of talking therapy for you, because again, that's free. If you're in the UK with the NHS, it's free. Who wants to pay money? If you can get stuff for free, then do that. But there's also, if that's not working for you, if you try all those things and it's not working for you, then on my link on my profile page, there's a thing called the QCHBA Therapist Finder, and on there you can find therapists who work in the same way that I do, and that can be really helpful. So I hope that helps a little bit. There's lots of different stages of stuff that you can do. It's something that you won't be stuck with forever. It will pass. Your brain will sort of reset itself and begin to realise, actually, I'm all right. I've been feeling this for a while, but actually I'm all right. And then the anxiety will begin to lessen. These physical symptoms will begin to reduce. And then that's the evidence, isn't it, that you're okay. So I hope that helps a little bit, Megan. Let's have a little look. Good morning, Glitter Queen. Nice to have you here. Good morning, Kian. Lizzie B, you're afraid of flying. Hopefully you heard me talking about fear of flying just a moment ago. And yes, hypnotherapy definitely is a really good help for fear of flying. But what I would say is, don't leave it until, 2 days before you fly, because hypnotherapy is not a miracle cure that just goes, bang, you're hypnotised. It is a talking therapy, and it's something that, give yourself some time to work through it. Okay, but yes, definitely go. It can really help. Let's see. Sal as well says, does St John's wort work for anxiety? I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I'm not a doctor, and so I don't really get involved with sort of medication, whether that's complementary, herbal, that kind of stuff at all. I'm just about working. Sort of the people that I work with might be taking all sorts of different things. And it's probably best to talk to a doctor or someone who's knowledgeable about those things that you can take. I'm sorry, I can't help with that. Morning, Chloe Lorraine. Morning. So I hope you're well. Oh, Jati357. I'm so glad that you realise, and hopefully this is a safe space, and I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for being here. Let's have a look. Thank you for all of you following me. That's so lovely. Let's have a look. Chloe Lorraine, you're struggling from anxiety. I'm sorry to hear about that. Lil's name. Any advice on upcoming exams whilst dealing with panic attacks? So, great question. And it's that time of year, isn't it, that lots of people are having exams, whether that's GCSEs, whether that's A-levels, whether it's end of year college and university exams, all sorts of exams happening at the moment. And it's really natural to feel a bit nervous about it, because you've put in so much work, haven't you? You've worked for years probably to get to this place, and you're being tested on your knowledge. And hopefully you've worked hard through those years and you know your stuff. And the question will turn up and you'll look at it and you'll take a moment and you'll reread it and think, oh, okay, I do know some stuff about this. It may well be, and I can remember turning over pages on exam sheets. You read it the first time and think, oh no, I've no idea about this. What on earth am I going to do? But reread the question and then read it again, because you will know something about that. And just take a moment. It's really useful to have some of the breathing techniques on my page, because that can reset your breathing. Just take just a few seconds just to bring you to a place where you calm yourself and your brain comes online again. Because the thing about being really nervous, really anxious, is that your brain goes offline. And what we need is to just be in flow and help your brain to access all the stuff that you know, because you know all that stuff. So I would say, look at my page, look at the techniques that I share. In the build up towards anything, it's not about firefighting. The way that I sort of advocate living is the way that I live all the time. Self-care, being kind to yourself, speaking kindly to yourself, taking a moment to accept and acknowledge that we all have these feelings. We all have times when we feel anxious, nervous, and that's okay. It's just our nervous system sending us a message that, oh my goodness, is something not quite right? Am I going to be in trouble? You make stories about what might happen. Bring yourself to now, and so using those techniques can help you be in a much calmer place, and also have that understanding that even if you can't answer a single question, if you think, I don't even know how to put my name on the top of the sheet, then even if everything goes hideously wrong, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean that life is ending for you. Honestly, I have examples, like for me, so I went to uni I took a year out, went to uni when I was 19, did 2 years at uni, and was, academically successful. But I absolutely hated it. I was completely miserable. I was so lonely. And I left. I dropped out. I remember writing to my tutor. We didn't have emails and stuff in those days. I wrote to my tutor and said, I just can't do this anymore. I'm so unhappy. And I dropped out. She didn't even reply to my letter. Can you imagine that nowadays? There's so much care and help within educational establishments now. But I thought, well, that's it, I failed. But I haven't failed, because I went on and I did other things, and I came back in my 40s and finished my degree, and I got a degree that was far better than I would have got if I'd have struggled on in that time. So it was the right thing to do, and I've lived a great life. And it's like my son, he did awfully in his GCSE exams. He left school, he wanted to go to sixth form, he couldn't do that, but he went to college, and look at him now, he's in Vietnam backpacking, and he's got a great job to go back to. So even if you fail, I hate people who do that, but fail at something, see it as, okay, well, this is just a diversion. But I don't think you will fail. Hopefully you'll be all right. I'm sorry to hear that you're having panic attacks. So panic attacks is something that people who have anxiety suffer from a lot. And sometimes they're very obvious and you can see someone's having a panic attack. And sometimes they're very quiet. And you might not even realise that that's what's happening to you. But it's a heightened state of anxiety, and it can be very debilitating. And with panic attacks, one of the things you can do is let people around you, people that you trust, know that this is something that happens to you, and perhaps give them some words of, this is what I need you to do if I'm having a panic attack. This will help me. And a lot of the time it's just being there for someone, and it's because it will pass in time. So connecting with someone that you trust, and then just saying, it's all right, I'm here, this will pass, you're okay. And perhaps breathe with each other, because your breathing will go a bit haywire potentially. And for them to be reassuring of you, and for you to understand, okay, just take a moment, slow everything down. So I hope that all helps you. I hope that helps, Lils. Okay, let's have a little... Okay, so Clolol says, my anxiety has started coming back up again so badly, and I feel like I can't cope anymore. What can I do? So I'm really sorry to hear that. That's hard, isn't it? When you've managed, you've got through some anxiety, and you're feeling much better, and then you start feeling the symptoms again. Okay, so it's great that you've noticed that it's happening again. So ask yourself, what did I do? I do last time? When I got myself through it and I started to feel okay, what did you do to help yourself? And what's happening now? What's the straw that's broken the camel's back that has brought you to this place that it's starting to go a bit wrong again? So be curious about that. And again, just slow everything down. It's about resetting, regrouping, perhaps taking out the things in your life which are not necessary at the moment. If you're overworking, if you're over caring for someone else, if you've got too much stuff going on, pare it back if you possibly can. And again, start bringing self-care into your day. Start perhaps using the techniques that I talk about as on a daily basis, so that the levels of stress hormones begin to reduce and the levels of the hormones that tell your nervous system that you're safe begin to increase. So I hope that helps a little bit. Let me have a look through. So Ghazi says, I just cannot relax. My anxiety takes over. Why? Well, I wonder how you're trying to relax. Because there's this sort of myth that relaxation means you've got to sort of be sitting in the lotus position for 3 hours going and that's not necessarily true. We all relax in different ways. So if relaxation for you is, I've got clients who say, I can't relax at all. Because they're trying, if you've got ADHD or if you're just naturally a busy person, and someone says to you, right, sit still and don't do anything and shut your eyes for half an hour. Oh, well, it's like your worst nightmare, I would imagine. So what does relaxation mean for you? Because I've had clients that relaxation has meant getting on their mountain bike and hurtling down a mountain at 100 miles an hour, sliding into the bottom, sweaty and muddy. And for them, that is the thing that brings them joy, brings them that sense of being at peace with themselves, at peace with the world. I've had other people who just love baking or drawing or painting and just doing. If you're a doer, then perhaps doing is the thing that is relaxation for you. And perhaps if you start to think about that, then that will be the thing for you. Because there's nothing worse. If someone said to me, if someone said to me, go and listen to music, that will help you relax. Oh, I couldn't do that. I'm not an audio type person. I'm much more about quiet space and just being in nature. So have a think about how you can connect to things that you really enjoy. So I always say to people, connecting with people that you love, perhaps not connecting with people, connecting with yourself, being in a quiet place, connecting with nature, connecting with exercise. That person on the mountain bike, they were kind of an exercise doing person. Connecting with creativity, connecting with learning. Those are the things that can bring us into that trance state of, I'm really present in this moment, I'm really in flow. That for me is what relaxation is about, and we're all different, so it's about finding your way. So I really hope that helps you. So Victoria, you said, I'm glad to see I'm not alone with these comments. I don't know what the comments are. Oh, my anxiety. Oh, okay, so my anxiety has become so bad again. I managed it for so long and it's appeared to be awful. And thank you, Vicky. Vicky's one of my moderators, and she's absolutely right that you're not alone. Victoria, sorry, I clicked on your name. Oh, golly, now I'm moving things around. I don't mean to be doing that. So you're absolutely not alone. And that's why hopefully this space is a safe space for everyone to be here and to understand. When you see everyone else commenting, when you see people commenting about, I've got fear of flying, I've got health anxiety, I've got social anxiety, I have panic attacks, I'm afraid about my exams, my anxieties come back. You can see that you're not alone in this. Anxiety is like a global pandemic. It's something which so many people suffer from, and it can feel a very lonely place because we try so hard to hide that we're anxious. And actually, it's a very normal thing to be. And it's that balancing point, isn't it, of understanding that anxiety is here to help us. It's a natural way of sending our nervous system, sending us the message, something's wrong, do something about this. And the more we try and ignore it and hide it, the worse the anxiety gets. So be with the anxiety, be curious about it. What is it trying to tell you? What is going on in your life, or has been going on in your life, that has brought you to this point? So for those of you like Victoria, it's ask yourself, why is this coming back? What's changed in my life that has made this come back? And perhaps if you can begin to take action to maybe calm things down a bit in your life. Sometimes we can't. Sometimes we just have to wait until that thing is over. Like when my son was trying to come back from when he was travelling in Australia and COVID happened and lockdown happened and he had to get back, and I was absolutely out of my mind with worry because I didn't know if he's going to get back. And the physical sensation of anxiety was horrendous. When I knew that he was back, when he landed back in the UK in Heathrow, it was a physical oh, thank goodness. It's like, and the anxiety just went. So when you're out of that environment, the relief is unbelievable. So sometimes you do have to be with it. Sometimes it is a case of, I have to just firefight. I have to maintain as best as I can. And when the environment is over, then I will feel okay again. And sometimes our nervous system believes that that's the case, that there's real danger, and there isn't. And so that's the thing about creating an environment of safety and maybe going to see someone to help you sort out that belief. So I hope that's okay. I hope that helps a little bit. So, yeah, Sarah, how can you spend your whole life not having anxiety, then you start suffering? So, I hope that what I just said there is helpful a little bit. So look at your life. What's going on right now for you? What has happened to trigger this? And sometimes it can be a match that we're making with something in the past that felt like a threat to us. And it might not have, we might not consciously have been aware of that at the time, but now we've got a match and our brain's gone, oh, yeah, this is dangerous to us. So have a look, be curious about what's happening in your life right now, and it will pass. This doesn't mean that you're doomed to feel anxious all your life. Honestly, anxiety is something that comes and goes. It's like the tide. It can be with us for a while and then it will pass. When we have chronic anxiety, if we work to help ourselves create an environment of safety, perhaps go and see our doctor, perhaps work with someone to begin to work out why is this happening, understanding why. But also it's really helpful to be practical and don't just talk about how awful it is. Use practical steps. That's why I love the therapy that I do. And I noticed that Becky Speller has asked, what is cognitive hypnotherapy? So perhaps I can answer that here and now. Is that it's a very practical therapy. It's an umbrella term, really. It's not just hypnotherapy. I don't swing a pocket watch to hypnotise you. It's about recognising that we're all going in and out of trance every day. When you're reading a book and you don't realise someone's asking if you fancy a cup of tea, when you're doing your protective behaviour, that you're going into a trance doing that. When we're really happy, when we're joyful, we're in a trance in that moment too. And cognitive hypnotherapy is about recognising what's going on right now. And it's about thinking about how do you want to feel, and then using various techniques to bring you from where you are now to where you want to be. And those techniques can involve hypnotherapy. So talking, our hypnotherapy is very conversational. In my sessions with clients, I'm using hypnotherapy and they don't even realise, because you can tell, some of you might be in trance now, because I have that kind of voice that is, just hopefully relaxing and helps you to begin to feel safe. And so I might begin to say things like, you might begin to recognise in your everyday just how much more confident you're beginning to feel, and how those moments of calm begin to happen a bit more often, and that you're in control of those, that you're able to, I don't know, that kind of stuff. So it's very conversational. You're in control of what you're creating in your life. I also use NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. That's why they call it NLP, which is all about visualization and about, whether you're visual, whether you're audio, whether you're kinesthetic, how you live in your world. I use positive psychology. It's a very positive, forward moving therapy. It's about growth. It's about acceptance of who you are, beginning to love who you are, and move towards a place where you can be the person you want to be. So that's just kind of in a nutshell. If you look at my website, which is linked through my profile page, there's a whole load of stuff about what is cognitive hypnotherapy. So I hope that helps a little bit. Let's have a little look. Yeah, so Meteoropata says this pandemic triggered my relapse. I'm not surprised. I'm sad for you, but I'm not surprised. This pandemic has affected so many people in so many ways. I've had so many people come to me needing help with anxiety, because it's just a huge trauma that we have all been through, because it was the unknown, wasn't it? Trauma is that sense of, life has been going along and then this thing has happened and I don't know how to cope with it. I don't know how to deal with it. I've lost trust in who I am, how the world works, how the people around me are. And it's just very, very difficult. And so I'm sorry that you've relapsed, but begin working on, just rebuilding, getting yourself back to that place where you were. Because if you've been able to get yourself to a safe place and a happy, calm, contented place once, then you will be able to do that again. So I hope that helps. Let's have a look. So, Flojo, my anxiety's through the roof. I'm so sorry to hear that. And Vicky, you quit your job last week due to your anxiety. Gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. But in a way, how incredibly courageous that, and all of you here today, you are living with anxiety and you are taking action. The fact that you're here, Vicky, the fact that you've quit your job, the fact that you've, oh my goodness, the fact that you've quit your job, the fact that other people are here trying to help yourselves is real testament to you, to your courage, to your strength. I noticed someone there talking about the stigma around anxiety, around mental health issues generally. You're absolutely right. Even though everyone talks a good game, don't they, about, mental health, we're all doing this work towards mental health. In reality, in a practical sense, so many companies, so many people, they do stigmatise mental health in the same way that they did so many, for years and years. And that really makes me sad, because we all suffer from all sorts of things all the time and in different parts of our lives. So for me, it's so important that we join together as a community, that we support one another, that we're kind to one another, and that we're patient with one another, because that's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing that really matters. Anna says, why does an anxiety attack hit after a good time? I don't know. I don't really know what you mean by that. I'm sorry about that. There's lots of things that you could mean by that. So perhaps if you could clarify, that would be helpful. Yeah, so Vicky says, I always help others but struggle to help myself. Oh no, Lynn said that. So, that it's so interesting, isn't it? That it's very important that we take time for ourselves, because it's wonderful and it can help us a lot to help other people. It helps me. It makes me feel so happy when I've helped somebody. But it is really important to equally balance that and take time to look after ourselves. There is no shame in self-care. It's not selfish. It is absolutely so important. There's that old analogy of, if you're in an aeroplane and the oxygen masks come down, use your own oxygen mask first before you try and help anyone else. Because if we're not strong in ourselves, if we're not safe and sure and steady, how can we help anyone else properly? So please, if you don't do this already, begin to take time for you. Begin to do something every day that you love and you look forward to, because that's a huge part of feeling safe and well. I used to stress myself out over, being the perfect therapist, being the perfect mum, being the perfect wife, like doing all my ironing, and now I just think, to hell with all of that. I don't care. If I want to go, if I want to go and do something, if I want to go and read my book in the garden and my whole kitchen is a mess, then I don't care. I can do that later. I will do it later, but I'm not going to sacrifice my well-being for a tidy kitchen. So that's the thing. It's more important. It's about priorities. It's more important that we look after ourselves and our own mental well-being than it is to get your ironing done, for example. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, so Jess, because of you, says, as a teacher, I have to bury my own feelings to help others through the day regularly. Yes, and oh my goodness me, teaching, what a difficult job, because you can work 24/7, you never get any thanks, everyone's always after you. I really feel for you. And it's very, very important, probably more important than anything, is for you as a teacher to take time for you, because there are so many demands on your time, on your mental well-being. And so I was talking to someone the other day, diarise that time for you. It's so, so important. So yes, I know that you have to do it as part of your job to look after others, but it's very important to be able to decompress, to reflect on your day, take time for you. Let's have a look. I'll just see if there's any other questions here. I know there's loads, and I'm just trying to work my way through all of them. Let's have a look. Yes, as Rose says, God bless the teachers, because you are amazing. You work so hard. I mean, having worked in school myself, I was a teaching assistant for 15 years, and I know how hard you work. I mean, teachers don't realise. People don't realise generally how hard teachers work. If you get a 10-minute lunch break and you're eating as you're walking around the classroom setting up for the afternoon, then that's all you get. You're in it really early in the morning, stay late at night, and then you go home and work again. It's just a job without boundaries, so hard. So Alex says, how do I challenge my driving anxiety? So thank you for that question. And also, sorry, I'll come back to you, Alex. I wanted to say, Joanna from Dale Farm, I'm not going to sacrifice my well-being for this, is such a good, powerful statement. Well, it's so lovely to have you here, Joanna. If you don't follow Joanna at Dale Farm, please go and follow her on her Instagram as well, and on the TikTok. She started posting on TikTok more now as well. Joanna is an amazing person, and I just think I'm inspired every day by what you post, Joanna. I really am. So if you're struggling, go and follow her, especially on Instagram, but TikTok too. Oh, that's TikTok too, because Joanna sort of talks through the stuff that she's going through, and it's so inspiring, because you can see that there are good days, there are really hard days, and yet it's it's possible to get through them, and I think her account would be so helpful for so many people. So do go and follow. Now then, let's have a look. So sorry, Alex. How do I challenge my driving anxiety? So driving anxiety is one of those things, it's so tricky, isn't it? It sort of builds up, and before you know, you're in that place where you can't drive on motorways, or you can't drive over bridges, or it just feels horrible to drive. And generally that will be because of something that's happened. So working with a cognitive hypnotherapist, working with a therapist can be very, very helpful with that, because you can go back to the first time that the thing that triggered it in the first place. I think as with any type of anxiety, you can work on creating that environment of safety, that daily work to help yourself to lower those levels of stress. But I think it is really helpful to work out, where has this come from? Is this actually about driving? Is this about something else? What's happened that has caused this to happen to me? And so I would say go to my page, look at all the stuff that I talk about, use perhaps some of the techniques to help you. And then if that is not quite enough, then I'd say, perhaps go to your doctor, ask about a talking therapy, or if you are able to go privately, have a look at the QCHPA Therapist Finder on the link in my profile page, and there'll be people there who'll be really good who will be able to help you. I hope that helps. It's a really good question. So another nerd says, I have OCD and I need to learn how to stop that spiralling feeling. Any tips on how to do it? So OCD is a tricky one, isn't it? It's such a horrible thing, and it really I can't stand it when people say, oh, I'm a bit OCD, when they're saying that they like things to be tidy, because proper OCD is just can be such a debilitating condition. And one of the best ways to work with it is to use techniques to help you to be much calmer, because OCD tends to get worse when you're stressed and anxious, but also to use perhaps delaying techniques. And I think OCD is definitely something that it's worth working with a therapist with, because it can be such a complex condition. So I would say, in a nutshell, probably that's your best route, is to go and work with someone who's experienced in working with OCD. There is an OCD unit at the Queen Elizabeth II Hospital in Welwyn Garden City, which you can Google. They have specialists there, but then there are also other therapists, private therapists, that can help. But I would say find someone who's experienced working with OCD, if you possibly can, and hopefully that will help you a lot. I'm sorry I'm not helping more. Let's have a look. So I can see there's quite a lot of comments about not being in control of things. Control is a difficult thing, isn't it? Because I can see. Gosh, there's loads of questions here. I'm sorry that if I'm not answering all your questions. Thank you so much for being here. There's so many questions and so many comments and they flash by, and as you can see, I'm blind as a bat, so I have to wear my glasses, and I'm aware that there's this shine on my glasses, so you can't see my eyes properly. So I'm really sorry about that. And so if I don't deal with your question or your comment, you're always really welcome to message me, or to comment on my TikTok. I try and answer all the comments. I spend like an hour or more each evening going through comments and trying to reply to everyone. So if you want to comment, or if you want to email me, the email details are on my website, then you're always very welcome to do that. And I'll try to answer any comments or questions there. But yeah, so if I don't answer you now, thank you for being here, and thank you for asking the question. And let me answer the one about being in control. And I briefly, about being on a year-long waiting list for a therapist. Oh my God, it's so awful, isn't it? The thing is that I was training the other day to become a clinical supervisor of other therapists. And there were people from, psychiatric wards, from hospitals, from CAMS, from all sorts of places, and everyone is absolutely under the cosh. Everyone has got waiting lists. It's so hard, whether it's private practice or in the NHS. It's such a difficult situation at the moment. So I really feel for you. It's dreadful. You're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing, trying to help yourself and looking. So there's a balance. I'm going back to the control question in a minute. There's a balance between working to help yourself by being on lots of stuff like this, but be on sites that are positive or support groups that are positive. Try not to be on support groups where it's all about, oh, woe is me, everything is terrible, because that actually can make you spiral. We need that human connection, but let's be in a place where we can uplift each other, where we can say, yeah, we're doing really well done for being here, well done for using self-care, well done, begin to notice the good stuff in your life. And so I hope that makes sense. Around control, now we all have this illusion that we're in control, and none of us are in control at all. That's probably not that helpful, is it? But understanding that, oh, actually I'm not in control of the wider world. I'm not in control of what anyone else does. I'm only in control of what I can do this moment now. I'm not in control of the past. I'm not in control of the future. And when we begin to realise that and understand that if I can bring myself to this moment, here and now, this is the only moment that matters. This is the only moment that I am in control of. If we can learn to let go of the past, I don't know if you saw on there's a category with stories, and we talk about the two monks crossing the river and letting go of the burden of carrying someone on our backs. A lot of us carry so much of the burden of the past, and if we can begin to let go of the burden of that, acknowledge that it's happened, but let go of the emotion connected to it, if we possibly can, then that can be so helpful. And to let go of the burden of what we think might happen in the future, because none of those places really exist. This is the only moment that is true. Wherever you're sitting, here and now, this is the only thing that is true. I'm just sitting here at my table in my room. I've got my back door open and I'm looking at my phone and I'm looking at all of you, and I'm aware that you're here listening. So just take a moment to be present with me. This is the only moment. And if we can do that, perhaps if you look at the pinned post where I do this technique, where we circle our thumb and finger and we just unfocus our eyes, and we're just here in the moment. We're here, we're safe, we're now. And we just soften our muscles. Just let go of breathing. And just notice where you're sitting. Just notice where you are. This is the only place that truly is. And if you can begin to notice that and bring yourself to this moment, you're in control of now. And then you're in control of now. And so on. Because that illusion of, I've got to do this and I've got to do that, and you go into that white noise, that frantic, I have to do this, I have to do that. And in that moment, you can feel the stress hormones flooding into you. And we don't want that. Because it doesn't make any difference to what's going to happen in 5 minutes or 10 minutes or an hour or 5 hours or 5 days. I know that some of you will have people in your lives who are really ill, and perhaps your mind goes off into the future imagining, what am I going to do if they're not here with me anymore? What am I going to do if they're in pain? And that place is totally understandable that you're doing that. But that place doesn't exist yet. The only place that is real is here and now. And being with that person, being with yourself here and now, to just create memories here and now. I hope that makes sense. So, let me have a look. Just Trying to just scroll through this. We've only got a little while. These times fly by, don't they? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, let me know, message me if you would like me to do longer times than an hour, just let me know. But I'm really aware of my moderators give up their time for an hour, like twice a week to be with me, but to be with you, to keep everyone safe. And I don't want to put that burden on them of having to do that. Let's have a look. Oh gosh, Victoria Gusto. Losing my granddad was the hardest time in my life. After 4 years, my heart still feels broken. I'm so sorry, Victoria. Loss of someone we love is devastating, isn't it? It's absolutely the worst feeling, and it's completely normal to feel that. Again, I mean, I would say, I hope Joanna doesn't mind me saying this, but if you go along to Joanna Shimwells, she's from at Dale Farm, her Instagram account, she suffered a devastating loss and she's documented that. And to know that you're not alone, and there is no time limit on grief. There is no time limit on grief. There really isn't. And I feel for you. I think that the only thing we can say about grief is that over time it changes. It's absolutely unique for every single one of us, and it's not about getting over it. How can you get over the loss of someone you love so much? It's just about it just changes. And I'm not saying, people say, oh, time heals. It's not about that at all. It's just that sense of it. It's almost like grief is almost a living, and that seems strange, counterintuitive, but it's almost like a living thing that we're with. And over time, it transforms, it changes. We go with it. We're devastated by it. We grow from it. We learn from it. All of those different feelings. So it's not really about getting over it. It's about acknowledging it, because it's a reflection of the huge love that you feel for the person. So, and I would say to anyone who is going through, who knows someone who's going through grief, please don't pretend it hasn't happened. I mean, obviously that person might not want to be talking about it all the time, but I always remember a very good friend of ours lost his wife, and it was very tragic circumstances. And we worked in a place where there were staff rooms, and he would be in a staff room. He'd go on a break, and he said to my husband one day, "Thank you so much for not just walking out when you see me walking in," because he said so many people don't know what to say to me, and they just walk out, and I'm so alone with my grief because it's as though people are afraid to upset me. And he said, I can't be more upset than I am. The worst has happened. I just need to have my presence acknowledged. I don't need to talk about it all the time, but please, I just don't walk away from people. Even if you're just going to talk about Love Island with them, or talk about, the weather, the fact that you stay with them and you see them and you hear them and feel them as people, because it's only when you lose someone you realise what a dreadful place it is to be. And you really, really, the people that stay with you and comfort you, even when, you've had the funeral and people are back to their normal lives, your normal life is not normal again. It never will be. So it's just something to remember. Victoria says, I constantly live in fear of losing people around me after my granddad's death. Yeah, I think that's a very normal way to feel. And that is part of the grief process, that thought, what if? So I'm sorry that you're going through that. And again, it's that case of bringing it to this moment, because we will all lose people, but that is kind of out of our control. And if we can possibly acknowledge and accept the people that we have in our lives, that's why it's so important. We want to know that we've said we've said everything we need to say to the people around us. You know, don't be afraid to tell people you love them. Don't walk out on an argument. Don't go to bed on an argument. You know, it's so important, isn't it, to embrace the people that we have around us as best we possibly can. So if anything does happen, then we know at least every moment we had with them mattered and counted, and they knew that we loved them, because that's very soothing if something does happen. So I hope that helps a little bit. So I'm aware that we've only got like a minute left, so I'm just going to do like a couple more questions. So I've got Ruby here. How do we get over witnessing a traumatic event? I encounter triggers in my everyday life. So I'll answer yours, and then if I see another question, then I'll sort of pick one of those, and then we'll draw everything to a close. So Ruby, I'm really sorry that you've had to witness something traumatic. It's very, very difficult. I think that trust is something very important, to trust your nervous system, to trust that it is processing and working its way through this. So over time, so what happens with a traumatic event is that we don't tend to do therapy straight away when someone has witnessed something traumatic, because actually the brain is incredible and will work its way through. And so it's about giving yourself time, about being kind to yourself, about doing what feels right for you. Some people feel that talking through it can be very helpful, with friends and family, perhaps with other people who were there. It's about understanding that trauma is potentially very difficult to deal with, but also we can have something called post-traumatic growth. So over time, it can be that this experience can help you to grow, help you to learn, and help you to help other people in your life. If after some time, if this happened some time ago, then it is important perhaps to get help from someone, a professional. So again, to go to a doctor and explain what's happening. Get some talking therapy. Also, something called EMDR is very, very good with trauma. It's eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. I use something called AMDR, which has been modified for the work that I do. But can be very helpful with trauma and having witnessed trauma or having experienced trauma. So I would say to definitely perhaps look into that. Don't struggle alone at all, because what we can do with the AMDR particularly, is that it can take away, obviously you can't change the fact that you've witnessed, but it can take away the intensity, the meaning, the triggering nature of trauma. So I hope that is helpful to you, and I hope that you're okay. You will get through this. It is definitely something that, it doesn't mean that you have to feel the intensity of what you're feeling forever. I feel for you right now. Let's have a look. So, Becky Speller. So, how to overcome or see through cognitive distortions for anxiety. That's difficult for me to answer here, because I don't quite know what you mean. If you're talking about perhaps depersonalisation, it's difficult. Maybe if you fancy, email me. Go into my profile, go into my website, and there's email there. You could email me through and perhaps go into more detail, because I'm not sure what you're getting at. It could be lots of different things, so it might be better to do that via there if you fancy. You'd be very welcome to email me. Millie Stock said, I had CBT. I don't know if it consciously worked, but unconsciously it did. I don't know how to explain. So that's funny. that is, so CBT, I'm not a CBT therapist. I use aspects of CBT, but that's quite similar to, that experience that you've had there of knowing that it's worked, but thinking I don't quite know how it's worked is sort of the way that the therapy that I use worked, cognitive hypnotherapy, because what we're doing is we're not really working with the conscious mind. We're working with the unconscious, with your nervous system, because it's the nervous system that's causing trouble. Because quite often we fully know that the behaviour we're manifesting doesn't make sense. We know we're intelligent people, aren't we? We know that the stuff that we're doing doesn't make sense, and that we shouldn't be afraid of this, that, and the other. But our conscious mind is only in control about 10% of our day. 90% of our day, the unconscious, our nervous system, is just ruling our life. And so that's the thing. The work we do is with the unconscious mind, with our nervous system. And that's how things just begin to happen very slowly and gradually. And that's why I use outcome measures. So outcome measures are something that the NHS use. They're GAD-7, PHQ-9, Schwemmwebs, and they are sheets which gauge anxiety, low mood, and well-being. And so over time with my clients, they start off with really high figures with anxiety and low mood, and probably very low figures of well-being. And over time, we see those anxiety and low mood figures drop, so they're really in the normal range, and the well-being goes way up. And the client understands, okay, I know why this is happening, I know what I'm doing, and I can see that this is a real thing. This is evidenced by this outcome measures measurement sheet. And so it's not just how do you feel compared to when we first started working with each other 6 weeks ago. It's evidenced work that I do and that other cognitive hypnotherapists do. So it's weird, but it's that whole combination of creating an environment of safety, working on the deeper structure, beginning to change the structure of your brain and your default processing, all of that kind of stuff. So it's hopefully, that's the lovely thing, is that it's very relaxed and gentle. And a lot of the time, like with my clients, we laugh quite a lot in our sessions. There might be tears as well sometimes, but you get from here to here, and you know how you've got there, so you know how to get yourself back there if something happens in your life to make you feel anxious again. So for those of you who've perhaps been triggered into a relapse of your anxiety, if you work with someone who helps you understand what's happening in your life to make you feel anxious and how to remedy that, then if stuff goes wrong, because every stuff goes wrong in all of our lives, doesn't it? So if stuff goes wrong in our lives, we know how to get it back on track again. So I hope that helps a little bit. So thank you so much for everyone who's been here. Thank you for my lovely moderators, Jasmine and Vicky and Lynn. You're absolute stars, and I so appreciate you giving up your Sunday morning for me and for everyone here, all our community. I hope you have a lovely, lovely Sunday, everybody. Just enjoy. If you've got the Monday blues, if you're thinking, oh, it's Monday tomorrow, Monday hasn't happened yet. Take some time for you to just be, to just begin learning to be present in now and enjoying what you have in the here and now. Thank you, the boss says you have amazing mods. I do have amazing mods. So thank you for acknowledging them. Vicky and Jasmine and Lynn, you are absolutely fab. Thank you all for being here. Again, if you go into my profile page, there's a link. It takes you to loads of free resources. There's free downloads that I can send to you. Gazmo, thank you. I hope you enjoy your day too. If you want to ask me a question, you can email me. It takes me a while to get through all this stuff. I realised people asked me yesterday for downloads, and I was out all day yesterday, so I've not been able to reply yet. But I do reply to everybody. I find a way. What else can I say? Thank you if you followed me. Just generally, thank you. Welcome to this community. and I'm going to do another live. Usually I do my lives on a Friday and a Sunday, so have a look. I always post about them before. If you want to register for my lives, if you want to set a reminder, then do that, or just turn up. That's lovely too. So take care. Thank you for joining me, and I'm going to say goodbye now. Bye everybody. Oh, I can't wait. I love seeing all these little things and messages. It's so nice. I can't leave. Thank you, everyone. You take care. I must go. Bye-bye.